All right, let's dive into one of the world's most dangerous flashpoints, a place where just one wrong move could trigger massive global consequences. We are, of course, talking about the Strait of Hormuz. It's this narrow waterway where incredible military might, vital economic lifelines, and global power all collide. That's not just some dramatic headline. It's the reality of a super high-stakes confrontation that's brewing in the Persian Gulf. This is a story about overwhelming power, really sophisticated hidden threats, and the delicate balance of the entire world's energy supply. So, to really get a handle on the situation, you first have to see the incredible conventional power the United States has brought to the region. This is a very deliberate, very calculated show of force, and it's all designed to intimidate and signal complete dominance. The U.S. has moved its most powerful naval force right into the Gulf. I mean, we're talking aircraft carriers that are literally floating cities, packed with fighter jets. We're talking destroyers and cruisers with their missile systems ready to go, and a whole fleet of support ships that create this mobile, totally self-sufficient arsenal. This isn't just about firepower, you see. It's psychological warfare. It's a clear signal of overwhelming force meant to stop any aggression before it even starts. The scale here is just immense. A single carrier group projects American power across hundreds of miles. So every plane that takes off, every radar system that's switched on, it all sends a very clear message. The U.S. has the reach, the tech, and the firepower to strike anywhere, anytime in the region. So you'd think that's game over, right? Well, not so fast. Because as the U.S. fleet projects all that strength, a very different and very hidden strategy is waiting for it. In this part of the world, conventional strength alone might not be enough to guarantee safety. The whole battlefield has been reshaped. So, while the U.S. is showing off its power on the surface, Iran has been quietly building this layered, sophisticated defense network, and it's designed specifically to counter that much stronger naval force. They're using what's called an asymmetric strategy, which is really just a fancy way of saying they're using unconventional tactics and technology to level the playing field. It's a classic David versus Goliath playbook. What you're seeing here is a multi-layered system that's designed to turn the entire Gulf into a lethal trap. It's this combination of hidden threats, long-range strike capabilities, and modern warfare tactics, all meant to create a kill zone for any invading force. The goal isn't to win a head-to-head fight. It's to make the cost of trying to win just impossibly high. And let's be super clear here. These tunnels aren't just some theory or a drawing on a blueprint. Oh no, they are operational, they are reinforced, and they are fully manned. From these hidden bases, Iran can fire off missiles that put the entire Gulf region, including U.S. bases, right in the crosshairs. So with all this incredible military hardware floating around, you have to ask yourself, why? Why is this little sliver of water so incredibly important? Well, it's not just a military target, it's an economic choke point. And what happens here has real-world consequences for every single one of us. The geography is absolutely key here. The strait is so narrow that it's impossible for big naval fleets to move around freely. That makes it both incredibly important economically and incredibly vulnerable from a military standpoint. Every single move here is a calculated risk. And this really puts it all into perspective. Get this. Nearly a third, 30% of the world's daily oil supply flows through this one tiny corridor. All the crude oil from places like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, it all passes through here, fueling economies from Asia all the way to the Americas. A disruption here wouldn't just mean higher prices at the gas pump. During a past crisis, the uncertainty in the market tied to the Gulf wiped out over $5 trillion in value in just 30 minutes. That's how fast military action can turn into catastrophic economic chaos for the whole world. But here's where the plot really thickens. Iran isn't playing this game alone. This is where the whole thing transforms from a regional standoff into a global chessboard. Key alliances have given Iran access to intelligence and technology that just amplify its defensive capabilities. So China gives Iran a huge advantage with its satellite surveillance network, which is constantly watching U.S. naval movements in real time. And at the same time, Russia is contributing advanced missile tech and electronic warfare systems, or EW. Basically, that's tech that can jam enemy communications and missile guidance systems. It makes Iran's defenses way more precise and way more likely to survive an attack. So what does this all mean? It means the US can't just rely on its conventional superiority anymore. The fleet's biggest advantage, the element of surprise, is gone. Every single move is seen, it's calculated, and it can be countered. The margin for error is razor thin. And that brings us to the final critical dilemma here. The situation in the Gulf isn't a simple matter of who has more firepower anymore. It has become a high-stakes strategic paradox, a situation where having overwhelming power doesn't actually guarantee you a clear path to victory. The US is basically facing a terrible choice with two very difficult paths. Path 1, a direct strike that risks an uncontrollable war, catastrophic losses, and a global market crash. Path 2, a tense standoff that creates this prolonged economic instability with crazy oil prices and shipping lanes under constant threat. Neither option is good. And it's not just the US and Iran. Even America's regional allies are walking on eggshells. Countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia are being very careful about how much they cooperate because they're trying to maintain this delicate balance. Nobody wants to get caught in the crossfire, and all this diplomatic caution just makes the strategic puzzle for the US even more complicated. And that final question really sums up the entire situation, doesn't it? In a standoff like this, power isn't measured by firepower alone anymore. It's measured by intelligence, by preparedness, and by the ability to navigate a world where the consequences of conflict are instant, they're global, and they are potentially catastrophic for every single one of us.